Hey guys, for this episode of Gamer Reality Check, I want to take a look at The Last of Us 2. Now, in The Last of Us 2, our characters have to navigate some very dangerous environments, and one of the hazards they face are fungus spores. Specifically when they're traveling through, let's say, basements or garages that enclose spaces where infected have died. Now, in this game, there's a clip that you can see what happens to a non-immune person if they're exposed to some spores, and it's a very horrible death. So, to protect themselves, our characters like to wear respirators or gas masks. And that's exactly what I want to explore today in this episode of Gamer Reality Check is, do these respirators or gas masks in the video game hold up to Gamer Reality Check? First, to find out, let's take a look at some gas masks or respirators.
Alright guys, so what I'm wearing right now is a full-face respirator, very similar to what the people in the video game wear. Now, our main characters tend to wear some sort of military type of full-face respirator, but there is one character, Lev, which you'll see in the video game, wears something very similar to this.
Now, there are different types of respirators. This is a full-face one because it covers up my entire face. There are half respirators that only cover up the mouth and the nose, which we don't see in the video game, which makes me believe that the survivors can be infected if the spores get in their eye. Now, these respirators have a nice rubber seal that form a nice seal to your face, and on top of that, they have these filters on the side, which can protect you from different types of hazards, which becomes important later on in this Gamer Reality Check as we explore Lev. There are different types of respirators, and actually, technically, this N95 mask is technically also a respirator. But we're going to use what we saw in the video game, so going back to our full-face respirator. So going back to our full-face respirator, what we have here are filters. And what you'll see is the filters, they come off and you can put on different filters, but you'll see they're color-coded. And that is an OSHA regulation because these filters are not universal. One filter does not protect you from everything. They only protect you from certain things. So these brown filters are meant for like organic gas. Let's say like paint, lacquer, or paint fumes, something like that. Which is where we come into trouble with Lev for one of two reasons. One, for our biohazard material, we're going to need something like this. These are the P100 filters that are particulate filters. Or these. These are what we use for, well, when I worked and we were in the hospital, we were dealing with the whole corona thing. The people that wore the respirators had to wear the P100s to protect themselves from the coronavirus. But in our main world, outside the coronavirus, outside the video games, when we have mold experts that are removing mold, which is a type of fungus, they use the P100s, which protects their lungs against the mold spores, not the brown cartridges. So for that right there, I don't know, Lev. I don't know if you'll be protected. Another issue I had with the respirators is I saw, if you play the game, you'll notice that in one of the missions, Abby has to find Lev a respirator. And she finds one off a dead Federal soldier, and she gives it to Lev. Good job, Abby. Good friend. But was she really? Here's the thing with respirators. They need to seal to your face in order to protect you. That respirator was taken off a dead man. And this is a small Asian boy, probably 12, 13 years of age. His face size is not the same as an adult man. You have to be fitted and test fitted for these respirators, and I'll show you here. If you take this is a N95 respirator, put it on my face, and people think, oh, it's good, I'm protected. But they don't notice this underhang chin dingleberry here that just breaks the seal. The seal is supposed to be along right here, where you see this little plastic gluey thing. It's supposed to seal that mask to your face. But as you can see, it's underhanging my jawline. So even though I'm wearing this mask, it does not form a seal, and I probably will not pass a fit test on this one. it's not really protecting me. Or if I take the small N95, which is I have been fit tested for, instead of hanging over my jaw, it hangs just above and forms a nice seal. And they take smoke or something that stinks and tastes funny, they put a hood over your face, and they spray it in, have you move around, and make sure that none of those smells or particulates you breathe in. And if you taste it or smell it, well, the mask is not a good fit for you. I don't know, maybe that dead feather soldier had a really small head and it was a good fit. I don't know, but I question that. And then the third thing I question is Joel and Tommy, when they wear their full face respirators, one of the things they have is facial hair. So, when you have facial hair, it can screw up the seal on your mask. So, for instance, firefighters, or actually with us, when we were doing the whole COVID thing, like we had to be clean shaven so we could make a good seal in the mask. Now, Tommy and Joel, they have these gushous beards, and some of the other survivors do too. So I question if it would form a proper seal with their respirators. So, right there, 3 issues with the gamer reality check. Alrighty, so now it's time to conduct our experiment for gamer reality check. Now, a lot of the characters were wearing military grade gas masks. I don't have one, but I do have something similar to Lev's respirator. Now, Lev was using the brown organic vapor cartridges. Now, even though I do have the pink/purple P100 respirators for either mold or, say, COVID, Lev was not wearing one of those. Therefore, we cannot conduct our experiment with the P100. In addition to that, they have additional filters that you can put on over your cartridges as such. This is a K95 particulate filter, which gives you additional particulate protection, which you can put over your K95 cartridge, which further protects you. However, again, Lev did not wear such things. If you see, you have these little serrations kind of here, and then you see the one side with filter. If you do a quick Google search, you'll see that Lev did not have the particulate filter. Therefore, for our experiment, we cannot use the particulate filter. Now, what is our experiment? When our survivors enter a room that's full of spores, they can see the spores, so we know that they're relatively large. So, we're going to use baby powders or simulated spores and test to see if the brown cartridges will protect from particulates. I'm sure we'll protect some of it, but we're going to have a little fun. I don't advise you to do this at home. Alright guys, so I moved outside. I got the respirator that's similar to what Lev used in The Last of Us. And I have our simulated mold spores. Let me get a good squeeze on that. To simulate our spores. Now let's see what happens. Will this respirator protect me against our simulated mold spores? I have a feeling yes, but no. And I'll show you why in a second.
Alright, so I got the mask on. Here's our spores. Well, I don't taste any baby powder.
And I can't see my face, but I'm assuming it's clean. However, what you can see is that the baby powder or the spores in this video is all around me. And that is what I was talking about earlier. So during COVID, when we would go in the patient's room, we had to, now I can taste it. We'd have to don on these gowns because the spores or the droplets would be floating in the air and land on our clothing. When we come out of the rooms, we had to take it off. That way, all the spores wouldn't be on our skin or on our clothing. Now, in The Last of Us, if you can see here, after he takes his mask off, just by moving around or any movement, he'd be exposing himself. So, not appropriate PPE in The Last of Us. When he wears the mask, yeah, it did seem to work. But once he takes the mask off and goes about, he's still breathing in the spores every time he moves. So, oh god, it's really chalky. Anyways, so in this episode of Gamer Reality Check, it's kind of a meh. I do think the mask would have protected him from the spores, specifically if he used the right filters, or if Lev and Abby used the right filters. But all the other stuff, the improper fit or lack of fit testing, the lack of gowns or protective clothing so the spores don't get on you, as you can see I'm now covered in it, and then just the cross mask to one mask to another, it's a maybe. It's iffy. But anyways, this is this episode of Gamer Reality Check. I hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna go take a shower now, and I hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, and look out for new videos.